the 981st meeting of Nowra Toastmasters. I'd like to share with you the mission of a Toastmasters Club, which is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every individual member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. I'd also like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the land on which we are meeting tonight, inclusive of all those who make up the Darawal and Yuin nations. I acknowledge the spiritual connections to land, sea and community, and pay respect to elders past, present, future, and to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander person here tonight. So regarding the housekeeping for the meeting, as you're aware, there's just a single exit in case of emergency. Please hasten out the door. The amenities are directly opposite. And when we come to the part of the meeting with the toast, if I could ask everyone to move swiftly from the room so that we can then have the toast and then adjourn for our break. So it's not actually the break when we go for the toast, it's just because we can't consume food or drink inside the room. And the theme of tonight's meeting is the joy of adventure. And I think if you were feeling a bit down, because a lot of us think, when we think adventure, we think overseas travel. We think, oh, how about going across to Europe? What about walking the Camino Trail in Spain or taking on some fabulous backpacking adventure through Europe? But after the COVID epidemic, I think our expectations have reduced somewhat, but there's absolutely no reason why we can't embrace adventure here, locally. When was the last time that you did something for the first time? The first time I ever, exactly, went hot air ballooning, went trekking in Western Australia, or just did something you just haven't done before, just within Australia. So in the spirit of the joy of adventure, I hope you enjoy the meeting this evening. I would now like to put my Deputy President's hat on and record the apologies for this evening's meeting. So I have apologies this evening from Linda and Mac McLeod, and from Glenn Hare, and also from Kez Thompson. I'd like to move those apologies, if I could have a seconder. John. Could I ask all those in favour of that motion, please say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it, thank you. Now I'm pleased to announce that there are minimal agenda changes. So there's one agenda change, which is that I will be stepping into the role of timer instead of Kez Thompson. And I believe other than that, everyone is here and able to take on their roles. So it's my pleasure to now welcome our Toastmaster for this evening to lead us through our Joy of Adventure meeting. Please join with me in welcoming Justin.
The joy of adventure. Megan just mentioned that we should do it close to home. And I had the great pleasure of going to the Bomaderry Creek for the first time. I've heard about it off and on, but I was amazed how much of what an adventure it was. It's one of the most beautiful walks I've ever done in Australia. And it's so close, right next to you, you can hear the motorway right there. I've driven past it so many times, but that was a joy. That was really a joy of the adventure. And I was very, very surprised. I wasn't expecting it at all. And you never know who you're going to run into, which as I was walking around, I ran into one of the guys from work who was doing the lap of it. So you never know what happens. So for today, I would like to invite Swandi to come up and give us the word of the day. Please.
Good evening, everyone. As a grammarian for the meeting today, the word of the day is experience. I'm sure that every one of you have heard and used it. So I'm encouraging all the speakers to use this word more often during the meeting today. So I'll let you know the meaning of the word experience. It means the knowledge and skills that you have gained through doing something for a period of time. And we can use this as a noun and also as a verb with object. I'll give you some examples with some sentences. As a noun, you can use the word as like he gained some valuable experience through working in this project, working in a project. And there's a famous quote used by Julius Caesar saying, "Experience is the teacher of all the things." And you can use this as a verb. Some examples, you can use it in a sentence. An opportunity to experience the excitement of New York. In that sentence, experience used as a feel. And experience, I will give you some synonyms. One is incident and occurrence, and you can use event as well. And that is the word of the day, and I hope you will all use that during today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So today we have 3 experienced speakers speaking today. The first speaker will be Rosemary. She's doing the intervention planning pathway. She's on level 3. She'll be speaking for 5 to 7 minutes with a green light on 5 minutes, amber light at 6 minutes, red light at 7, and buzzer at 7:30. I'd like to introduce Rosemary. Her title, A Artist's Plan. Rosemary, A Artist's Plan.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's presentation. Tonight you are in for a real treat. I am going to talk about a suggestion that will fire your imagination, get you thinking about opportunities that you did not realise were available to you, which will enhance not only your life, but the lives of your loved ones as well. And don't worry, I'm not going to try and sell you Tupperware or any other commercially based product. Just remain seated and relax. The opportunity for you is on a different level. It will take you to a place you didn't realise that you wanted to go. What type of place didn't think I wanted to go? Well, this place will, as I said, fire your imagination, give you an opportunity to express yourself, and also present opportunities that you did not think were available in Nara. The opportunities is a part of freedom that you get from having a place like this in Nara. It's a bit of freedom, a liberation from the norms that are normally in place for what I'm going to suggest. And it's a place where you can express yourself in the fullest manner and how you'd like to be able to do it in your own way and own it for what it is. And there's no one sitting on your shoulder saying this is the correct way, or you you could do it this way, or we need to actually incorporate something else so that what you have here will work in with the other people that we have within our group shows. It's going to give you more depth to your life and will give you something to work towards. And we all need something to work towards, something to motivate us, to give us that impetus to go that one step further forward. Especially when you're not feeling that you're that confident about what you're doing or where you are in life. And for some of us, it's something that we crave. It's a type of recognition that we want. And you may want to know what I'm talking about. It's about having your artistic talents recognised for what they are. Because there are a lot of artistic people in this room. You may think, I don't have an artistic bone in my body, but it's up to you. But it's just waiting there to be found and unleashed, and you'd be surprised at what you can do. In this business opportunity, there is an opportunity to make money. And who wouldn't like to make money? I know I would like to make money and a small profit so that I can continue on my own life's dreams. It is a venture that you will have the ultimate input into. It is an area where you can curate and be seen, and where you know where you're going to be taking this adventure to. It's an opportunity to display your work in your own specific ways and how you have imagined your work to be displayed. Not have it displayed by someone else who thinks that painting A should go with painting B, when in fact it should be going with painting. You organised it so that it would go with a painting F instead. Then you can invite the community in to view your work and experience the thrill of having people admire what you have created and where you want to be, or what you've done. I would like to present this proposal for your consideration, that we as a group set up a community art gallery. You may say, why a community art gallery? Don't we have one already in the Shoalhaven Regional Art Gallery? Or what about Renwick Craft Cottage? Or in Berry there's the Muir House. But they are a different type of art groups. In my community-based art group, I would like to see an organisation where we have a space for artists to come in, set up their work for say about a week, and they do all their curating and they organise all that needs to go with it, and then they take their work down and the next person comes in. Because you may not know it, but Megan is a fabulous patchwork quilt maker. And you would never know about it because she never has a place to display it. And then there's John, who is a ceramics artist. His pots are magnificent. They range from 30 centimetres tall to 2 metres tall. And they are all about creatures of his imagination, who've come out of fairy tales. And we will never know about these people because we do not have a community-based art gallery where they could be able to go and set up their work and see them. I would like to see, if you would like to be part of this group, please come and see me after this meeting, and we can see what we can do to organise the gallery. It's going to be a great place for people to be able to go and display their work and have it viewed by their peers and the general community, and be something that Nowra can be proud of. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Rosemary. I do believe I don't have any talent in my whole body myself, but I am looking. I do like to do landscape and painting, even though it doesn't look like landscape after I finish with it. I'm still trying. But fantastic idea. I'd love to see that. Next, I would like to introduce Daniel. Daniel's also doing the Pathway Innovating Planning. He's on level 3, but he's doing his icebreaker as he's only just gone through. So this is Daniel doing his icebreaker.
Thank you.
So I'll just wait a few minutes. Audio visual. Did you bring your tap dancing shoes, Justin?
I did bring my tap dancing shoes, but that's also another talent that I don't believe I have.
I can crack a mean handstand when I'm drunk.
Well, how fast can you get drunk?
Well, pretty quickly.
You're a Navy man, in the Navy now, maybe a song?
I'd love to, but Scott's so full.
Who's got a joke of the day?
Well, to join an adventure, I mean, you're a Royal Navy and you came, what made you, I mean, you came all the way from the good old motherland to come here. That was an adventure and a half.
It was certainly an experience. So, good evening, my name is Daniel Newcombe, and thank you for welcoming me into your club a few weeks ago, or months ago as it is now. So, I thought I'd do an icebreaker, and I'm doing level 3 innovation planning, and one of the elective is to use PowerPoint or presentation software, and that all boils down to PowerPoint. So, I was born in 1978. That makes me 23, and I'm also not very good at maths. And I was born in a place called Shetland Islands. Oh no. You just have it across the... Yeah, it's over there. So Shetland Islands sits 300 kilometres to the east of Norway, and 130 kilometres from the top of Scotland. It's a subarctic archipelago, which is not very normal around this area. It's all tropical archipelagos, and it makes for some interesting weather events when I was growing up. Its total landmass is 1,466 square kilometres. 23,000 people live on Shetland, so it's not a very big population. It's been populated since 15,000 BC by various people and Vikings, Saxons, Anglo-Saxons. And when you start dating in Shetland, it's very important to ask their surname. Next slide, please. So I grew up in a town called Mossbank, which is in the northerly part of the island, up near an island called Yell. I was very privileged to grow up in Shetland, as you can imagine. It's a very barren place, lots of trees, as you can see. And I never left the island until I was 14 for a school camp. When I was young as well, I managed to go out, explore. We had underground bunkers, we had Coast Guard, American Coast Guard stations, we had work camps from when they were building the oil terminal. That was my first experience with the law enforcement agencies in Shetland. Whilst I got caught breaking and entering into a work camp that was deserted, my friends ran, I got caught. We had beaches, we had all sorts of lovely things to do as a kid. Air rifles, bow and arrows, and all that sort of good stuff. Maybe I'm pressing the wrong button. Thanks. So I went to, there's only a couple of schools in Shetland. I went to a lovely primary school called Mossbank Primary School. It used to take me 2 miles to walk to school, and it was always raining, believe it or not. And then when I went to high school in, I think it was 1990, I went to this lovely high school at the bottom called Anderson High School. Unfortunately, that's not a school anymore. They built a lovely, lovely Swedish-looking school. So that was pretty exciting, and I learned heaps there. So much learning. Next slide, please. So when I was 15 and a half, I did my standard grades, which is equivalent to, I don't know, WAFE certificate. Yeah. So 15 and a half, I finished that, and then I left home at 15 and a half, and I lived in this lovely town called Lerwick, and all I ever did was work. I worked as an apprentice butcher. I used to work from 5 in the morning to 7 at night, and then I used to go do a part-time job. And then I kind of got a bit tired of that, living as a poor young man in Shetland on £60 a week on youth training scheme. I decided to join the Royal Navy. Next slide, please. So I joined the Royal Navy in 1997, and I had an absolute blast. I served 14 years. I've served on many classes of submarines: Astute class, Vanguard class, Swiftsure class, Trafalgar class, and I went many places. I went to Rio de Janeiro, North America, South Africa, off of Russia, went to Somalia. No, kind of went to Somalia. Dubai, Gulf, South China Seas, La Réunion, and Australia. And then I loved it, and then I met my wife, had kids, had 4 children. I wish I could put them all back, but you can't, right? So 2011 came around, and I had the opportunity to join the Australian Navy. So I took the opportunity. I'd had a great time on the submarines. Can you go to the next slide, please? So I joined the Australian Navy 2011, and I qualified on Collins class submarines. Collins class submarines is a completely different experience than a nuclear powered submarine. Takes you 2 weeks to get to America on a nuclear powered submarine doing 27 knots. Collins class about a year because they're diesel powered. But that being said, it's good fun, and I've managed to go a lot of places since I joined the Australian Navy. I've been to Japan, Guam, Singapore, Malaysia. I've been around Australia twice to every major city on the coast. It's been amazing. There's some pictures of me. I even managed, first time ever, I took my daughter to sea, and she drove the submarine before she could drive a car. So she's pretty stoked, but no one believes her. And that is my icebreaker. And I tried to use PowerPoint and jazz it up a little bit and add some photographs for it. And I hope you enjoyed my speech. Have a nice evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. I do believe in your neck of woods you're mainly Viking. But if you look at your heritage, you're like 90% DNA from Norway. And
My granddad's Norwegian.
well, that explains that. But what an excellent experience that was. Our next speaker is John. He's also doing a pathway integration planning. He's level 2, and he's going to do a speech 5 to 7 minutes. 5 minutes on green, 6 minutes amber, 7 minutes red, 7 minutes 30 for the buzzer. And his title is Leadership Styles. So please welcome John. Leadership Styles, John.
Three. Good evening, Toastmasters. Tonight's project I've been commissioned to do on leadership styles. The project asks you to discuss your own leadership styles and to how you've had to bend them, vary them, how you experience them, and talk about them, even talk about them generally, and the project also goes through and lists that there are basically 8 leadership styles, ranging from bureaucratic through to altruistic, or in English, dictatorial, through to adapting it to suit changing your style to suit every individual member of the team, which is a bit dramatic. So it also suggests that experiences don't demand a different leadership style. My experience has been totally different. My experience has been that everyone has all the ingredients for the whole 8 leadership styles in differing degrees, but everyone's got it. It's just a question of what's appropriate to use on the day. The other thing is that the situations you're in basically determine what's an appropriate leadership style. For instance, when you take the case of a doctor in a training hospital, gets in at 8 o'clock in the morning, got a troop of trainee doctors behind him, goes around, sees all his patients, checks through their charts, chats to them, finds out how they are today, and then there's a discussion with the trainees as to what the diagnosis is and what the treatment should be, etc. And then that's all done in a collaborative, democratic style. Come 10 o'clock, he's off down to the local lecture room, and he's talking to a group of nurses and giving them a lecture on first aid. But then this time his leadership style is again different. This is coaching. So they're not actually taking a direct part, they're just simply listening. Come 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he's off to the operating theatre. And then he's got a trainee surgeon with him. This trainee surgeon has never operated on anyone before. Okay? So he starts on this and they talk about it, goes through it. The trainee runs through exactly what he's got to do, illustrates that he knows step by step exactly what he's got to do, the pitfalls he's got to look out for, and then so they embark on it. But this is a totally different style of leadership. This goes back to bureaucratic, because being life-saving, or make sure you do save the life, you've got to be spot on it. If there's anything starting to go wrong, he's got to jump in. The lead doctor has got to jump in, correct it, and be on the ball, which basically he's got to be a real bureaucrat, a real dictator when it comes to that. Saving life demands that. So you've got the one doctor illustrating 3 totally different leadership styles just in the one day. The personal experiences of this. I did have one bad experience, but I've left it out because it means I go over time, so thank you. But one really good one, I had to go over to Bermuda. Our client over there was Bacardi, the rum people, and the task for the 2 weeks was to implement their foreign exchange accounting system, or our system, but implement it for them so that they could actually use it and tailor it to suit themselves. The first week I was totally involved in getting all the numbers and the formulas for all the numbers together so that they could see how that hung together, so they could find the numbers they wanted. Then the second week it was developing templates. They would develop a template for each individual foreign exchange transaction, and then we'd have to turn around and clear out the database. It was using test database, of course. We had to go clear out the database and put in a couple of transactions, use the templates that had just been defined, run them through, get the results, take it back to them for check, and then we'd go back and clear out the database again. So we kept cycling on that. And what had happened was there was a young guy there as well. There was a senior accountant who, as long as everything was running, he was happy. He went off and did something else. But the head accountant, he was the one that did all the hard work, and he really had his head stuck into it all the time. And then there was what looked like an offsider, very energetic and quite strange too. He was actually an Australian, it turned out. They stuck over in Bermuda. So that went exceedingly well. At the end of the week, or 2 weeks, what had happened was we'd developed a working pattern. It was just like a well-greased engine, a structured engine just chugging away and away and away. For the whole 2 weeks, Microsoft had sent one of their customer support representatives with Bacardi over, and he was watching and taking part of this. And he turned around at the end of the 2 weeks and said, "You ought to go and get a job with Microsoft programming. This was brilliant." So I was really chuffed about that. That was one where leadership really came together, came well. And the other example I wanted to use was in marine rescue. You get life-saving, life-threatening situations developing in there. I'll just pick one, and that's if you've got someone out in the water, you've got your own rescue vessel, and at the back of it, it's got 2 incredibly capable slicing machines. We normally name them as propellers, but God, do they do a good job of slicing things up. So what you aim to do is, if that's the guy that's actually in the water, and if the wind's blowing from this direction, then what you want to do is sail in from this direction. Well, you can come in from the other one, doesn't matter. Sail this direction. Bear in mind that there are no brakes on a boat, so you've got to judge it very, very skillfully, such that you cut your engines just beforehand and you come in close, not too close, but you come in and just gently stop beside him. Skillfully judged to get to have that happen. And then, strangely enough, you sit there and do nothing. You're waiting on the wind, and the wind will take you over. And he won't be moving because your vessel is taking the wind off him. So your vessel just slowly moves over. And when he gets there, you turn around and take him round to the back, go round to the back, take him on board, bring him up to the transom. He's safe, take him home. So, Toastmaster, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, John. That was 2 totally different experiences from working with Bacardi and then going out rescuing people. Fantastic leadership skills, and definitely an experience to have. We've had 3 very good speakers, and the benefit of Toastmasters is they get feedback. So I would like to introduce Carol to give feedback on Rosemary's speech. Carol.
Thank you, Toastmasters, and in particular Rosemary, who gave us a presentation, a proposal, an artist's proposal. And what I really liked, right at the beginning, I was drawn in because Rosemary said we were in for a treat. And I think, yes, that's what I expect from Toastmasters. I expect a treat every time I come. So thank you very much. We had a treat. I think one of the things that held Rosemary back, I think, was her notes. And it's one of the things that I would challenge her for future projects, is to try and memorise more of the speech.
one of the tricks that works for me, and I'm just going to throw it out there, and if it doesn't work for you, I'll accept that. But to try and look at your structure of your speech and think, what are the leading sentences on, if you've got six paragraphs, what are the lead sentences on those 6 paragraphs? And try and just memorise those. It means that you can sort of start with, you know, it's going to be a proposal, we're going to have a community art gallery, and then you know that there's some detail around that. I'm going to invite everybody else to be involved in that, and then you know then there's some detail around that. So that will kind of structure your speech and help you to get through the parts of it. I really enjoy the way that you use your body, and I particularly was delighted when you pulled your hands down. And it's an amazing thing to see when it doesn't feel natural to pull your hands down. But when you did that, it felt that the nerves went out through your fingertips and it really looked much more relaxed. So that was great. And the other thing that I really liked was when you were stepping forward and you actually use that movement with purpose. Because sometimes we're asked to move and do things, you think, oh, it's not natural and it doesn't fit with the speech, but that really did, and it helped us to get a visual of the actual speech. So that was a really good strategy, and it was well performed, if you like. So it was an interesting speech. It was great. It was an adventurous experience for us to have something that was something outside of the Toastmaster world, that it was art, and encouraging us to all be involved in that and to think of something a bit more adventurous outside of things. So I really enjoyed that, and I hope that the little tips or suggestions will be useful, and I look forward to future speeches from you. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Carol. Fantastic feedback that not only can Rosemary take from it, and everyone can keep your hands in, which I've got a bad habit of not doing. So the next person I would like to invite up is Chin to give feedback on Daniel's icebreaker. So can you please give the name to Chin, who's going to give the feedback on Daniel's icebreaker.
Thank you, Toastmaster. It's my pleasure to evaluate Daniel. Daniel have delivered such a wonderful speech. I love how much effort that you put into to make the presentation. It was so wonderful, and you have delivered a well-prepared and well-planned speech by putting all the picture together on the slide. So I like the way you introduce the place you grew up, which is Shetland. You put the map on the slide so that people will know where are they, where is it. It made me understand more about your hometown. Yes. I enjoyed the speech very much. Daniel have controlled the nerve very well. He has a very clear sound, and then he delivered the speech very clear and make people easy to understand and follow. From the speech, I know that Daniel have the patience in the Navy, and he joined the Royal Navy for his whole life. And he also took his daughter to the sea. Yeah, such wonderful experience. And he delivered the speech in confidence and clarity. So I really enjoyed your speech. I would like to challenge Daniel to deliver your speech without referring to the note for the next time. And also, probably Daniel can try the projector thing beforehand. I know sometimes it's a bit hard, like it's the technical issue is a bit hard, but you can try to make sure the stuff is working. Yes. Overall, Daniel have delivered a very good speech. Congratulations and well done. This is such wonderful icebreaker. Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to hear you more story. Back to Toastmasters.
Thank you very much, Jen. Great feedback from Daniel and everyone else who was involved with that sort of speech. The final speaker was John's leadership styles. Rebecca's going to come up. I'd like to invite Rebecca to give feedback on John's leadership style. So please, hands for Rebecca.
Thank you, Toastmaster Justin. So tonight I'm evaluating John's speech. I love how John just came out here, stood in the middle of the stage and looked at everyone. It engaged us straight away. It was really great how he started. I like how John now puts his hands to the side. It's very noticeable, it's great. And when you use your gestures, you use them with purpose throughout the speech. I like how John started off his speech and he reiterated what his speech was about, what his objectives were, what pathway he was on, and explained a little bit about what it was he was speaking about, with that being the leadership styles, ranging from, I think, bureaucratic to altruistic, and listed a few of what the common leadership styles were as part of his project. I like how John incorporated a lot of examples within his speech. The first one he started off with when he was, well, not he, but just talking generally about doctors and nurses within the army, was it? Something like that?
No, teaching hospital.
Sorry?
Teaching hospital.
Sorry, the teaching hospital, yes, the teaching hospital, and how, depending on the situation, the doctors will change their leadership style depending on what's happening at the time, and how people in general can change their leadership styles depending on the situation. I thought that was really interesting. John had a nice clear voice throughout his speech as well, and then throughout the middle of his speech he started to go on to examples that were more personalised to John and his leadership style, which I thought was really, really good. So he spoke about, one example was when he was in Bermuda doing a work-related accounting job. It was quite interesting to hear your experiences with that. It was really, really good to hear. I like how John explained in detail the situation and how things changed, but it was at times a little bit confusing as to what type of leadership style that reflected back to with your experiences there. It was a very good detail, but I was a bit confused which actual leadership style was throughout each example. The same with the marine rescue. It was a very good example, but again, I wasn't quite sure as to what leadership style you were referring to there. So maybe perhaps be a little bit clearer in those sort of things. I would recommend John for future speeches, and I would challenge him to reduce his filler words. I did notice there were a lot of ands and a lot of ums. But overall, it was a very enjoyable speech, John, and it was very interesting to hear of all your experiences as your different leadership styles over your career and life in general. So thank you, John, and well done.
Thank you, Rebecca. Another fantastic feedback that we can all learn from. I believe we're a little bit ahead of schedule, but are we going to have the toast now?
Yeah, well.
Yep. So we're going to, please everyone come up, come outside and grab a glass of or a cup of water.
Remind everyone, we have already heard our manual speeches, and we've also heard the beginning of the evaluation. So hold the vote on the best evaluator for now, because we will have the odds and evens evaluator and the master evaluator later. But there will be no more speeches, so if you would like to vote on who you felt gave the best speech this evening, and that will mean that when I come to collect the voting slips later, it'll be a nice, swift process. And continuing in the spirit of adventure, face the fear and do it anyway. Impromptu speaking, of course. Everyone's most fearful aspect of Toastmasters is, of course, impromptu speaking. And who better to lead us through an adventurous impromptu speaking session. Please join with me in welcoming Kylie.
Thank you very much, Sergeant of Outcomes. Okay, so tonight we're going to shake it up a little bit, and we're going to do like a mini debate, and it's going to be around our theme. And so that the idea of a debate is that you have an open and a middle and an end, just like a normal mini speech, and you've got to wrap it up in that 2 minutes. There's going to be people for, so speakers 1, 3 and 5 will be 4, 2, 4 and 6 will be the against people. So even if I say it's like cats and dogs and you're for cats but you're on the against team, make sure that you're speaking against cats, not for cats. So that's what I'd like the evaluators to pick up, to make sure that there's a beginning, middle and end, and that they're doing either the for or against whatever the topic is. So the first people I would like to call out will be Justin and Kim. So if Justin and Kim can come down, because you're going to battle it out.
Sorry, which one is speaker 1 and which one is
Yep,
speaker 2?
getting to that.
Battle it out.
Battle it out. Scissors, paper, rock. Go.
Okay.
Scissors, paper, rock. Okay, rock.
She picks.
No, oh yeah, sorry, paper, paper, rock. So, for or against?
4.
Okay,
Speaker 1.
speaker 1 is for, Justin is against, will be speaker 2. And the topic will be, so for 2 minutes is Kim, and it will be plane or ship. So you are speaking for plane.
Planes are fantastic. In fact, they align with our theme of tonight, joy and adventure. Travelling on a plane is an experience, isn't it? An experience like no other. And many of us have missed out on experiencing the plane travel during COVID, so we can dream about being on a plane. So in our dreams, we can think about going somewhere amazing. Last time I was on a plane, I went overseas to the UK, to a girlfriend's wedding, and we took 24 hours on that plane with a 5-year-old and a baby. The joy of adventure. With a 5-year-old and a baby, yes. It was adventurous. We had lots of vomiting, lots of eating chocolate, lots of crying, lots of ear popping, ear pain. We finally got there. And it's quite adventurous when you go to another country. You've never been to the UK, and we actually had this vision of going through all the beautiful countrysides and seeing all the farms. And UK farm is very different to an Australian farm. We expected sort of land and green rolling hills, and we got little country tiny plots and little very small areas of land and kind of farms near towns and things like that. So very, very different experience. However, the plane travel, coming back to the plane travel, we did end up coming home on a plane, and we had, again, the same experience of ear pain, vomiting, lots of sugar. However, we did land safely, and we were alive at the end of our adventure. Thank you, Madam Tabletop Master.
So Justin, you are against planes and for ships.
If you want an adventure, you want the joy of adventure, you want an experience, it's ships. I think Kim described why you don't want to be on a plane, because you have annoying children who are noisy and throwing up. You're stuck in a small area, you've got nowhere to go. But on a ship, especially a nice big ship, you can go to the bar, you can go to the pool, You can do as you please. You can go sit down in the sun and you get to see the sea. Nothing beats seeing the sea. It is beautiful. And without a question, I mean, playing, it's so annoying. You've got to line up for hours to go through the security. Show me your ID. No, don't show me your ID. Take your shoes off. Don't take your shoes off. But on a boat, once you're on the boat, you can relax and enjoy the adventure. It's nice and relaxing. No screamy babies. There's very screamy babies. You go to the other side of the boat. So, without a doubt, don't go to plane. Always go to ships. It is the way to do it. It is experience and heart. Thank you.
For those experiences, yes, I think the boat, the ship will be the one to go to because you can chuck the kids downstairs in the kids' room and the adults can have cocktails upstairs, which is great. Okay, the next two members coming up will be Megan and Rebecca. Come on down. Okay, so you're going to be for, you're going to be against. Relaxing holiday. And active, sorry. Relax, active.
Relaxing holidays. When we're at work, we are so frenzied. I get up at 4:30, got to walk the dog, got to get to work, got to watch out what production's doing. There is documentation, there's the boss on the phone, there's crazy stuff everywhere. So, when we go on holiday, we go for serenity. We go for calm. We go to wilderness locations and just soak in the gobsmacking beauty of all that nature can offer. We stand in the face of a waterfall and feel the spray on our face. We walk behind the water in the waterfall and just experience firsthand how wonderful nature can be. We go on a boat cruise and watch the whales leap out of the water while we're sipping cocktails on the deck. We might go for a romantic walk along the beach and sit and watch the sun set over the horizon and think, how lucky am I to be alive? How lucky am I to have the ability to be able to travel in a peaceful place and enjoy all that life can offer. And having found this centre, having found that serenity, it gives me the strength to go back to the coal mine and to the face of work and work myself into a frenzy just so I can dream of taking another relaxing month off in another year's time. By all means, ladies and gentlemen, if given the choice, choose relaxation every time.
Relaxing holiday. Who needs that? Like, seriously. You can relax any old day of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When you get home from work, there's hours before you go to bed. Well, in some cases people have hours, but generally speaking, there's plenty of time to relax. You can relax when you're old, you relax when you're young, when you're a little baby, you don't do anything. When you're older, you might just take it easy. Plenty of time to relax in your life. Why not go on an active holiday? You can do all the things of relaxing holidays. You can go in the bush, like Megan said. You can go on a ship. You can go on a plane. And you can be active. Why waste that opportunity when you're in these places on a holiday, sitting back, being a zombie, doing nothing? You can be out bushwalking, climbing trees, snorkeling, scuba diving. If you're on the boat, on a plane, you can go to your destination and you can enjoy the music and not just sit there with your cocktail. You can get up and dance with your cocktail. Or you can talk to your friends, chat, you can do karaoke. It's so much more fun on an active holiday. Why have a relaxing holiday when you can have an active holiday? I don't understand. There's plenty of time to relax at home when you are not on holidays. Why waste your holiday being a sloth? I don't understand.
The way I'm feeling tonight, I'd rather be a sloth. Okay, next two are
and especially food, champagne, and everything you can get in 5-star hotel. Do you need to go to a campaign? Having mosquito bites and some snakes? Oh my god, I don't want that. If you wanted to have a relaxing, nice holiday, I recommend everyone should go to a 5-star hotel. First save money and then go to a 5-star hotel and you can enjoy the luxury life. And for example, what do you select? Go for a camping and you have to do all the, you have to make the tent and you have to prepare the food, especially if your husband is not, don't know how to cook or don't know how to prepare anything, so you have to do all the work. So rather than doing all the trouble, why don't you go to a hotel and enjoy your holiday? Thank you.
The adventure of camping. It's so great. I know that people go to 5-star hotels. Now, where's the challenge in that? Like anyone who can just open their purse and go to a resort somewhere and just sit there. And I've got to tell you, they're the same in Broome or Kota Kinabalu or Phuket. They're all the same. They're exactly the same. You go in and the resort is exactly the same. Now, get your tent and trek out to the Pilbara. And I'm going to tell you, Karijini is pretty spectacular. Rocky, but spectacular. Hot, spectacular. Love the camping. There's no resorts out in the Pilbara. There are places that you can go and get an authentic experience where there aren't a resort, which are manufactured, they're pretend, they're just the same wherever they go. Whereas there's this uniqueness. If you grab your swag, you can go on a train, you can go all over the place, and you can trek and you can, oh man, you can walk. Yeah, I do that a lot. But no, camping, that's the authentic experience, and you can go anywhere and see everything and see how unique the world is. So yeah, if you just want to take the easy way, go to a hotel, but if you want a real adventure, go camping.
I knew that was going to be gold.
Thank you for participating. I think I would like, because I don't like camping and I can't afford 5-star, but I wouldn't mind going on maybe a 5-star glamping trip underneath the stars at night would be really nice. So maybe not in the heat and not in the Rockies. Okay, so the first evaluator tonight to evaluate the odds members is Mitch. So I am right, yeah? No, Hiker, sorry. Just keeping you on your toes, making sure that you know who's doing what. Okay, everyone please welcome Hiker to evaluate the
I do need this just to keep a little eye on it. Now, would I like to congratulate all of our table topic masters answers as being fantastically staged. You did away with anything, you came out and you talked directly to the audience. So that goes for every single one of the odds. Now the first one was Kim, and Kim took it on straight away and she looked us in the eye, she asked us the question, and then she gave us her experience with planes. My question to Kim is, now, was that really pro-planes or not? I was sort of left to think about that. What I was lacking too is I was lacking the contrast. Yeah? So at the end, I was expecting some sort of a summary saying, yes, planes reduce the pain. At least you're only 24 hours with those crying babies on the road and not 6 weeks. To contrast the plane versus airplane. Didn't happen, was expecting it, but the experience, the personal, the body language with it, the connection she made as she was looking around was making up for all of that. And yes, what an experience on the planes. Now, Megan is a very experienced speaker, and she gave us good reasons for going on a relaxing holiday. I hope you all got it. Because she already, in the relaxing, she slowed it down. And she was telling us on how she's in need of that relaxing holiday in the first place. I loved the language, especially the gobsmacking beauty of the outdoors. I thought that was just like, wow, gobsmacking. It felt like one of those ads where they take that fish out. Hit someone, yeah, I don't know if you've seen that ad, hit someone over the face with it. I'm going, gobsmacking beauty, yes. Very nicely done. A challenge to Megan. Stagecraft. We have space. And we need to move, and we need to move with purpose. And Megan was a little bit stuck. And I thought maybe that is because she is relaxing. So, it may not be a proper comment, but it could be. Last but not least, Sawandi. Lively, connecting, smiling, using her hands. Very, very nice. The stagecraft is a challenge for you too, but also I would love to see more eye contact, that you actually don't look up there, it ain't there, but you look at us. And I love the summary you gave to wrap it all up. So, very well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaya. And some really great points there. I'd now like to welcome up even severe Mitch.
Thank you, Kylie. So it's my pleasure to evaluate the even-numbered speakers this evening, and what a challenge this evening was to really hone the craft of making a strong argument as part of the table topics. Our first speaker speaking in favour of ships was Justin. And what I really liked about, he came up here and spoke about the advantage of the size of a ship, the freedom to roam. And he spoke a bit about the inconvenience of having to rush through airport security and turnstiles. And what I really liked about Justin's speech was that right from the outset he engaged with Kim's argument. So one of the, well, it's not strictly a table topic skill, but when we're arguing, it is nice to engage with somebody who's presenting counter arguments. And he did that really well, and he engaged with humour at the start of his speech, which really engaged the audience. A suggestion for a point for improvement for Justin was perhaps he had two really strong, really clear arguments. His conclusion was didn't do his points, didn't ram the home, or could have rammed the points home to the audience stronger by revisiting the key arguments from his speech at the end of his argument. So potentially strengthening up the conclusion, but a really engaging start to the speech and very clear structured arguments. The fourth speaker this evening was Rebecca, speaking in favour of active holidays and not sitting by the beach and having a cocktail, but getting out and amongst it. She had similarly some strong arguments in her speech. She spoke about the idea of having plenty of time Monday to Friday to relax, and wasting the opportunities of being in some of these amazing locations by just sitting in the one spot and not getting out amongst it. What I really liked about Rebecca's speech was her vocal variety, Rebecca has a wonderful tone about her speech and really engages the audience in what she's saying. She made wonderful use of gestures throughout her speech. A point for improvement for Rebecca is potentially to, I'm not highlighting this myself, but is to potentially improve some of the stagecraft and use the stage a bit more, because Rebecca did make some very strong, well-structured arguments and could potentially perhaps move a little bit more. The other suggestion I would have is to potentially consider some signposting a little bit more throughout the arguments to make it a little bit easier for the audience to follow. So saying, for example, before offering the Monday to Friday example, so that it's clear to the audience that that is I'm giving an example in favour of the argument. And our last speaker this evening was Carol, who was speaking in favour of camping, which I think was a real challenge for her. But she rose to the occasion and managed to deliver a rousing argument in favour of camping. She spoke about the need to challenge oneself by camping, the lack of variety in resorts, and the access to some unique locations. Carol typifies the vocal variety and use of gestures and eye contact to really suck the audience in. You can't help but want to listen to what Carol has to say when she's up here, and being with great vocal variety, great welcoming gestures, great use of the stage. It's a point for improvement for Carol is to potentially consider signposting the arguments a little bit more to really separate it out. There were clear separations there were clear separate arguments within the speech, but it could have been easier to follow by saying to the audience, there is a lack of variety in resorts, this is an example, and then moving on to another point, there is lack of access to these sites, and giving an example. So all in all, very well done, very clear structured arguments. It was a pleasure to evaluate the speakers this evening. Back to our table topics master.
Again to everyone for participating, and some really great arguments, fors and against, and I hope that you like to do some of these experiences. Yes, Megan is telling me to remember your little voting slip for the best table topic, and I will now hand back over to our Toastmaster. Thank you.
Please everyone have your voting slips ready for Megan who's walking around. Thank you, Kylie. That was fantastic. It was very enjoyable. I haven't seen quite a table topics like that before, so it's very good. So now I wish to invite Swandy to come down to give us our ums and ah counter, how many times that people's used the word of the day. So give your hand to Swandy.
So today, the word experience, I noticed that all the speakers have used the word experience. Justin used it 5 times, and Daniel used it 1, and Chin used 1 time, and Kim used 4 times, Kylie used 3 times, and Haika used 3 times. And thank you for that. So Justin is the winner for today. So he used 5 times, and overall we didn't use much ums and ahs. If I tell you the names, the John, Justin used few ums and ahs and filler words. Other than that, all the other speakers used only 1 or 2 times. So well done, everyone. Good job. And it was a pleasure to be your grammarian for today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to give Megan a little bit more, a couple more minutes.
Well, actually, Mitch very kindly offered to give a little bit of time as reported.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah.
So, introduce hands on applause for Mitch, who's going to give us the time report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch.
I feel like I'm swanning in after Megan's done all the hard work this evening. So, delivering the Times report this evening, as is typical of our club, we did start on time this evening, bang on 7 p.m. Megan had the opening, had quite a fair portion of the agenda early on, but didn't over elaborate and managed to use up only about 3.5 minutes or so of her allotted 14 minutes. We had Justin, who's our Toastmaster this evening, who has used about 3 minutes for his introduction and then similarly about 3 minutes throughout the rest of his assignment this evening. So Andy came up to give us our word of the day, gave us had a time of 2 minutes, spoke for 1 minute 49. Our first speaker was Rosemary with a time of 5 to 7 minutes, spoke for 7 minutes 50. Daniel for 4 to 6 minutes, he spoke for 6 minutes and 9 seconds. John had an allotment of 5 to 7 minutes and spoke for 8 minutes 10. Carol, with the first evaluation, spoke with allotments of 2 to 3 minutes, spoke for 2 minutes 50. Chin for 2 minutes 40, Rebecca for 2 minutes 45. We had our toast by Swetha, which was in on time. We had our Sergeant Arms resume the meeting on time and promptly. Then our table topics master didn't take up excessive amounts of time. Our first speaker, with allotments of 1 to 2 minutes, and the impromptu speakers, Kim spoke for 2 minutes and 6 seconds, Justin for 1 minute and 11 seconds, Megan for 1 minute 42, Rebecca for 1 minute 17 seconds, Sawandi for 1 minute 10 seconds, and Carol for 1 minute 35 seconds. Our odds evaluator hiker used 3 minutes and 18 seconds. I spoke for 4 minutes and 10. Sawandi giving the grammarian report was 1 minute and 5. And I've probably used up a little bit more than my allotment. But I'll hand back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mitch, for jumping in there in very short notice. I would like to welcome Kim, our Master Evaluator for speaking. Can we give a hand for Kim?
Boy, you work hard being a Master Evaluator, don't you? You certainly can't fall asleep in a meeting. It's been an absolute pleasure to evaluate the whole meeting. And from the moment that you walk into this room, you know that you're in a great, well set up room. So we walk in and our Sergeant at Arms, Megan, has provided everything for us, our agendas, our name tags. She's making sure that everyone has a name tag and our voting slips, etc. The room's well set up, and just praise to Kylie for doing all the filming of us in each of our meetings and uploading those files to YouTube. They're so helpful to be able to watch ourselves, watch our body language, listen to our vocal variety and our delivery, and a great way of learning. So thanks, Kylie, for doing that, because it takes time to upload those. So you walk into a room and you know you're in great hands in this club. The opening formalities were well done by Megan, being Sergeant Arms. We started on time. And so Justin, Toastmaster, well done. You've done a great job tonight. Justin has a very conversational and relaxed and friendly style. And as soon as he gets up here, he relaxes the room. And he's just being himself. He's created great segues throughout the meeting to introduce people, so he's made people feel very comfortable and relaxed. He has introduced the speakers well. Just a point of improvement in introducing the speakers is to have a bit of consistency. So when we introduce a speaker, it's nice to be able to say the speaker's name, the title of the speech, title of the speaker's name. And you did that for your first speaker, but didn't do it for speaker 2 or 3. So just to have some consistency, work out how you'd like to do that and keep that rolling throughout. Also, just another point of improvement is to, when you're introducing the speeches, to give the timing of the speeches, and you did that for speech 3. So maybe do that before the speeches start. That's another point of improvement. But overall, really well held. You held your nerves well, and you're your naturally funny self as well. You cracked some jokes about some of the content as well. So you had us really enjoying the evening. So thank you, Justin. The toast was very well prepared by Swetha. Really clear toast on motherhood, and really well prepared. Just a very professional toast. And Swetha memorised her ending as well. She didn't use her notes at the end, she memorised. So that was a beautiful example of a speech, and I don't really have any improvement for you. I think that was an excellent speech. Grammarian, Sawandi, thank you. The way you presented your grammarian, your experience was excellent. The way that you gave us an opening body and conclusion was like a mini speech when you introduced the word for the day. So congratulations there. You gave us some great examples of Julius Caesar, sentence examples, and then when you gave us your grammarian feedback, that was very detailed as well. So great listening throughout the meeting, and you counted ums and ahs. You also gave us who used the word of the day, but also just a point of improvement for you, to listen for creative phrases throughout the evening is always a fun thing to do and an enjoyable thing. So maybe just to add that to your role next time you're doing grammarian is look out for fun phrases and interesting expressions. So good job there for the grammarian. Timer, thank you Mitch for jumping in at the last minute to do that. Really clear, short and sweet, nicely delivered as usual. Very good voice projection by you, Mitch. And I think to reduce the timer's report, perhaps you don't need to restate the length of the speech, just state how long the speaker spoke for, because after all, the timer's report is about the speaker knowing whether they are within their time limit or not. So that's really what we're asking for. So just that's the point of improvement for the timing. Table topic master, thank you Kylie. That was an excellent idea and a wonderful way of making us think on our feet using the debating theme, and the way that you presented that was really great in terms of the structure of how you gave us instructions on how it was going to roll out. It was very clear. So you gave us a way of doing our impromptu, which is an opening body conclusion. You also gave us who was speaking for, who was for and who was against, so it was very clear. So I think that's great. The skill of a table topics master is to ground us before we do our impromptus because we're nervous. So important to be grounded that way. So great job. And evaluators, the table topics evaluate the odd evaluators. Heike is a wonderful, experienced Toastmaster, and the evaluations were very encouraging. And what I really love about Heike is her vocal variety. She holds us in the palm of her hand. When she was delivering her speech, you could hear a pin drop. So please notice Heike's vocal variety. It's beautiful. It's amazing. But her evaluation was also excellent. She speaks in third person. She gives points of improvement. And so, yeah, great evaluation, Heike. Thank you. Mitch, for your evaluation for the evenings, again, very encouraging. I like the way you come out here, you put your notes on the lectern and then you come out and you speak, so you've learned to do that very, very well. You're very comfortable up here, which is fantastic to see. You gave great points of improvement and really clear examples of how to improve, and that's a wonderful evaluation. is to tell us how we can improve where we're falling short. So that was excellent, thank you. Carol, your evaluation. The structure was excellent. The way that you presented your evaluation was very good. You used the third person. You praised Rosemary's introduction in that how she opened up onto the floor. You spoke about her body language, and again, you're very good with your notes as well. You've made lots of notes, but you've put them over here, and then you stand away and you use the room really, really well. So you've got great comfort there. Just a point of improvement, maybe to use the room a little bit more, just to send yourself across the room and perhaps a bit more eye contact. But lovely evaluation, Carol. Chin, very encouraging and very positive for Daniel's icebreaker. You listened extremely well. I think you started off speaking in first person. That was just a point of improvement for you. You started saying, I really liked how you did this, Daniel. Okay, but then you self-corrected and then you went into third person. So that was fantastic. And now I'm speaking in first person. I just realised. So it's an art to get that right, to speak in first person versus third person. And you also gave Daniel a good challenge to practice the projector first before he started. So Chin is a very good listener and always does a great evaluation. So really appreciated your evaluation, Chin. Excellent. Rebecca, the master evaluator. Rebecca is a wonderful evaluator. You are so confident and probably just stand out here, no notes, and have delivered a very clear evaluation. Very encouraging. You talked about the strengths that John had, and you also gave him points of improvement, which was very good, about using filler words. The only point of improvement I would add for your evaluation is to give him a way of managing that issue with filler words. So perhaps suggest use pausing or breathing, or practice creating that gap. That's the only point of improvement, but otherwise an excellent evaluation, Rebecca. Thank you. And the only general comment I'd like to make is that the agenda said that Linda is going to do our final wrap up and awards. So I think we'll be here for about 3 days before the flying in from Queensland. That's my evaluation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kim. I'd like to call on our acting president, Tegan.
Thank you. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed the meeting as much as I have this evening. I really think the joy of adventure spurred everyone to action. So it's my pleasure this evening to award the meeting ribbons. Our best table topic this evening. Please join with me in welcoming or congratulating Carol. Our best evaluator this evening, congratulations to Rebecca. And our best speaker this evening, all the way from the Shetland Islands, congratulations, Daniel. Okay, so now I'd just like to check if there are any announcements for this evening. Oh, Colin.
Yes. Got some catch up to do, as we know that our wonderful Megan was in the area contest for the international speech, and I'm here to present the international speech contest area 30
That's a trophy.
trophy. So everyone,
I don't think that's going to fit on the bookshelf.
Okay, you're building
Stay
a new
in
house.
the ballroom, yes.
Yes, right. Thank you.
So then, because of the area contest, and Megan won that, so then she had to go on to the Southern Division contest. So we know that you got 3rd place for the international speech. So I'm doing this on behalf of Louise Burns.
Thank you, Kylie.
That's your participation and another participation. You got a bag, but it got dirty. But you got a ball as well. It's a squishy ball. So you can
It's a stress ball for when you can't be on relaxing holidays.
That's it. So while you're trying to find room for the trophy, and Wayne's, like, where are you going to put that one? You can use that.
Thank you very much.
That's on behalf of Louise. So everyone, round of applause for us.
And I would just like to thank all the members of the club and the area and the Southern Division actually for the amount of support that you get when you compete. I think Carol experienced it as well. We actually get quite nervous before performing, and Zoom is quite challenging, and so to have the support and encouragement of so many people is really quite heartwarming. So I do thank you all for your support for that. Thank you. Now in terms of other announcements, I would also like to thank Kylie for organising for us the Barefoot Bowls. There was about a dozen members and guests that came along and enjoyed the Barefoot Bowls, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lovely way to spend the twilight. It was a combination of active and relaxing. So I would recommend it if you get an opportunity again to take part in that. So thank you, Kylie, for organising that. Are there any other announcements? Oh, Speechcraft. Our Speechcraft course will be beginning on the 15th of April, which is only a week away, really. Is that right? Yes, 15th of April.
Yep.
So, yes, so I think Linda is our Speechcraft coordinator, so she'll probably be making contact with various people who might be supporting the club through the 6-week program. So the first meeting is by Zoom, and then after that, we rely on various Toastmasters to deliver educationals and teach our Speechcrafters the art of Toastmasters. So thank you in advance for your help in. And also spread the word. It's not too late to enrol. So if you know anyone that you think might benefit from that experience, it's a much more intense experience than our normal meeting. But some of our graduates of Speechcraft are people like Shwetha, like Chin, like Justin, and you can see how much that they have benefited from the Speechcraft experience. John? And John! Of course, John, sorry. Sitting right there, John, sorry. Yeah, and John too. What else have I forgotten, Kylie? Anything else? Oh, do we need to move any minutes?
Not tonight.
No. Take hours to move minutes. So if there are no more announcements, thank you for your attendance this evening. I look forward to seeing you. And just a reminder, the forward agenda is on the back of the current agenda. If you think there's any challenges in meeting your assignment, the sooner you could let me know, the better. The speech assignments are actually hotly contested. So every second meeting, we're actually putting 4 speakers on the agenda. So if anyone can't give their speech, just let me know, because I've actually got quite a few people that would like to step into speaking roles. So, and if you have got a burning desire to accomplish one of your pathway goals between now and the end of the year, let me know, and we'll do our best to try and accommodate those wishes. So I'd now like to declare the meeting closed.